Yeah, we're talking about it a little bit. And, Tigers baseball, we probably won't get the chance to do it much, if at all, this year. But Brandon Katz on the WoodwardSports.com chat thread said something that I think is very relevant. And he said Detroit needs to find undervalued cheap players like Tampa and other small market teams do. And, Brandon, I've talked about this in the past. You are seeing that now. That's the approach. That was the reason, when they brought in Rob Metzler from Tampa, one of the best in the business, he built Tampa into what they are.
Yeah, no, it's like going to a restaurant, right? Now you have the chefs that go to the market and pick the ingredients that you need. The guy that was here before never shopped where you need to shop, where you want to shop, and that's to the young talent. A lot of it is what's the one thing we complain about? What does Tampa do the best? They get not the North American players, but they're all in the Caribbean. They're all, wherever guys are playing, finding them young, right? Where they don't have to pay them. What's the big thing that you're always about in the football, right? Drafting so you get under that rookie salary cap, right? So lack of a better term, that's what these guys do. And now you have guys that's their operating procedure, right? So let's just let them cook and see what they produce. A lot of it too is it's beautiful here at WoodwardSports.com. You turn to the Woodward Sports Network. Our boy Rogelio Castillo, who follows the Woodward Tigers, and he tells you about all the minor leagues and the guys that are coming up, and all these guys that Scott Harris and the gentleman, what's his name that brought over from Tampa?
Oh, Metzler, yeah.
Metzler, these guys who they are cooking with, because you won't see them for a few years.
No.
And you won't see them coming up, but you have to know that it's in the works. And talking to Rogelio, he's excited. So that sort of gets me excited to be able to sit back and wait. I have patience. That's the one thing at 51 years old now, Neil, that I've developed is more so patience.
WoodwardSports.com chat thread, Robert Colosia says, stop with the Trout hopium. Riley Green will be Hunter Renfroe. So there's that one. Sam Flannel has that pain. Sam Flannel had the look on his face like when you say that J.J. McCarthy has no business being in New York. Like he just says, oh, come on. He had 23 touchdown passes this year. That's the look. That's the look that he has on his face right now. But I will say this, too. You saw this, though, with Scott Harris. And Matt Vierling, who's off to a good start for the Tigers. That I look at Matt Vierling and Nick Maton as kind of like my lines of the Scott Harris era to the Alavila era. That's where it stopped, right? Because that was a trade that looks like they have a chance of winning, unlike any trade that Alavila ever made, where there were no victories.
Factual.
None. That's factual. Yeah, you can tell me what you think. I'm telling you what we know. We can go through the list. We do that from time to time. But I will tell you this: Vierling and Maton, those are my lines in the sand. Because I talk about this, how I take this Tigers team, and it's the Avila portion and it's a Scott Harris portion. Those are two different portions of the baseball team. I can still be filled with rage about the Avila part of it and be hopeful about the Scott Harris part of it. That's fair. It's fair
because it's when I do comparisons, it's like Steve Yzerman signing a David Perron, right? A guy that, even though it was a free agent, it wasn't a trade, but it's bringing in somebody that he likes, his guy. Can we say Vierling's his guy?
Right.
Right? So let's see how his guy operates and how his view. This is really the first test of somebody plausible in the lineup that we can see that he likes. Now, we know that coming from San Francisco and stuff like that, he's known to be able to find prospects, to see prospects and stuff, but that means nothing to us right now. Vierling means something because bat, ball, out of park, we can see that.
And that's what it is, too. And in the WoodwardSports.com chat thread, Walter Briggs says, look at Soto's stats already. And I haven't looked at them with Philadelphia, but now he's got me excited to take a look at this because I do want to see with that 18 ERA that he has with 2 innings pitched, a home run, and 4 walks. So, again, we never even got a sliver at that with any trade Alavila made. You never even got 2 weeks where you're like, wow, this really worked out well. You see what I'm saying? That's where it's different for me.
And a lot to that point, what Walter brings up, right? It's not only what you've acquired, but that's Scott Harris saying, I don't believe in Juan Soto. He's not part of my future. And getting rid of, you know what I mean? And being able to get rid of guys that won't hinder your lineup and getting value back, right? Like, it's not that the guys you get rid of produce or don't produce, because it's irrelevant. It should be irrelevant, but the fact that it shows you, wow, he's not here. He didn't like this guy, and look what this guy's doing now. Short sample size, but again, he's a great evaluator of talent, not only on the minor league, but the major league level.
Here's a good comp for you, D-Mac. Let's Go Remming Sparty says, Vierling and Maton look like the Fabry trade by Yzerman. Both earlier, their GM's tenure shows that they can evaluate talent better.
Yeah, right. Yes. So when you're talking Wallman, Fabry,
Yeah.
guys that you're coming across, even to like a Billy Husso and stuff like that, where and these guys have given away some value, but yes, to Robbie Fabry, I would say, being a former first-round pick that Steve Yzerman saw belief in, and maybe that's what we'll see, and maybe to the point of what Brandon Katz said, not only getting younger guys, but getting guys that maybe have had cups of coffee but just aren't in the right position that Scott Harris sees value in, that you can get them cheaper and give them an opportunity. Boom, bang, boom. Maybe we're hitting bombs over at Comerica this year.
And I guess just to sum it all up, D-Mac, like sitting here and seeing the crowd and being downtown, at the music hall here for the opening day party and seeing everybody, right? Like this is opening day. Here's why, to me, driving down here and walking through the streets, I had a bit of an epiphany today. To whereas there's finally somebody competent in charge of acquiring players as opposed to what we had under the whole Avila regime, for real. Like, I felt that energy today walking down here. When I look at Matt Vierling, when I see Maton, when I see Soto with his 18 ERA with Philadelphia,
You know what it is?
we're winning trades,
It's Star
it looks
Wars,
like.
baby. It's a new hope. We have a new hope, right? You know what I always talk about trying to get that vibe of that feeling, oh, it's going to be all right, don't know what it means. To some sort of it, that black cloud has been lifted from this organization and people are ready to get on board. To me, a lot of this vibe too, Neil, feels to what people are expecting for football season. Do you not get that? This is like the everybody's sort of like vibing it out, because to everybody's point who isn't down here, there is a sense in this air, and leading into the football season, leading into next year's draft and stuff, but this city's ready to party. Doesn't it feel like this city more than any time as of recent history has sort of opened up, and everybody's like figuring out how we're going to make this work for all of us. It's really cool. Vibe down here is awesome.
WoodwardSports.com chat thread, one of my favorite subjects to address. Lorena Rio says, does Javi Baez have an opt-out in his contract? Yes, Javi Baez does. The Detroit Tigers do not. So after this year, theoretically, Baez could opt out of his contract, but I have a hard time thinking he's going to walk away from 4 years and $98 million. When you're hitting,
just cross that one.
Now hold on, I want to get this right because I don't want to be wrong, right? Javi Baez right now hitting .095, 2 for 21 to start the season. I haven't confirmed his swing and miss rate though at balls out of the strike zone.
Javi Baez probably home run here tonight, just because of that. He probably takes one deep.
Probably get great odds too.
I wonder what it is. What are the odds?
Whatever
on
it
that?
is, it's not high enough. It won't be ever high enough for me to take it. I will say it. I will say it like that. But no, we are doing it down here. It's just, for me, there is a new hope because there seems to be a competent GM that's made one real trade of note, and we've gotten good early returns for it. So
far, so good.
So far, so good. And that's all I could ask for, because D-Mac, again, the Al Avila thing for me, and I know that people, when we go through the annals of Detroit sports, will talk about Matt Millen. Al Avila was on par with him. He was. Now, the difference was he started with a good team and had to take it apart. That's why people maybe don't think about it from that perspective. But to me, the job level is the same. And I would also go to say Avila might have been worse.
Well, I think it's a great argument to have of what he did to an organization, because we won't be able to tell to see how long it takes Scott Harris to dig out of this hole. To me, the more Avila was around, it was quicksand. So we finally got out of the quicksand and sort of plugged the hole. How long it takes us to get back right, so to speak, to where we were at when Avila took over, think about that, Neil.